Hello everyone, this is Alphmendra Ten Kingdoms, and today we are going to be doing the rulebook for Alphmendra Ten Kingdoms, and this is going to be the back of the card art. So this is very cool. I love the way that this turned out. Each one of these puzzle pieces represents a different kingdom in the game. That goes with the lore, which I'll get into in a different episode. But yeah, let's get into the rulebook. So first we have the table of contents. This lists all the things that we're going to go through, how to play the game, how to set it up, everything that you'll need to play, and then some additional information. So let's run through it. So, the introduction: you are an awakened one, a powerful being in a world of Alphmendra. In Alphmendra, you battle against other awakened ones for territory. You use creatures, magic, and artifacts to claim victory and become the master of the 10 kingdoms. The object of the game is to reduce your opponent's HP to 0 and win the game. There are 3 main ways that you can deal damage to your opponent. 1, you can attack your opponent's player card using creatures. You can use spells and card abilities to deal damage directly to your opponent, or you can deal soul damage to your opponent by destroying their creatures. Now, we're going to get more into this in the creature page, but whenever you destroy an opponent's creature, they'll take soul damage depending on what rank that creature is, what level that creature is. The things you need to play Alphmendra: you need 3 things. You need your main deck, your property deck, and your player card. Your property deck will be made up of 10 cards whose capacity does not exceed 10. So each property card has a capacity that it will take up in your deck. So a property card with a capacity of 2 will take up 2 of your capacity points, and you'll need to leverage it with property cards that have a capacity cost of 0. Next, you'll have your main deck. Your main deck contains 40 cards. This will be a combination of creature, spell, and action card, item, structure, and location cards. You may only have 3 copies of any one card in your deck. And then you'll have your player card. So altogether, you have your property deck, which is 10 cards, your main deck, which is a minimum of 40 cards, and your player card for a total of 51 cards. Next, we have the field zones. So this game is played on a grid, as I mentioned in one of the previous videos. It's played on a 3x3 grid. This is where you'll play your creatures and move them around. Your opponent will also have a similar grid on the opposite side. You'll have a property deck zone, a property deck, a property zone, a graveyard, a main deck zone, and a location zone. So if you look here, these are all the zones that you'll have: location, graveyard, deck, property, and the property zone. This is where the deck goes, and this is where they actually go when they get built. And then if you look right here, level 0 to 2 creatures can be played in your front row, level 0 to 5 can be played in your second row, and level 0 all the way to how the highest level can be played in the back row. So how do you set up a game? Well, to start a game, you start with your player card face down in the middle zone of your vertical and horizontal row. You randomize your property deck, your main deck, and then you place them face down in their respective zones, so here and here. Next, you'll randomly choose which player goes first. After, both players will draw 5 cards from their main deck, and you do get a mulligan, so if you don't like your opening hand, you can shuffle your hand back and draw a new hand of 5 with no penalties, but you can only do it once. After that, both players will choose to keep their hand. Both players reveal their hand, or reveal their player card, and the game begins. So getting into the cards, we're going to start with the player cards. These are a very important part of the game. Your player card represents you, the player. You start the game off with your player card on the battlefield in the middle of your horizontal and vertical row. You'll have your card name, your hit points, which is 20. Each player starts off with 20 right now. The card artwork, the information, and all that good stuff, collector's information. Players and creatures belong to 10 different kingdoms, including beast, insect, regal, oceanic, machine, plant, fiend, space, celestial, and generic. Creatures can go in any deck regardless of what kingdom your player is. So you can have beast creatures in your oceanic deck, you can have regal creatures in your machine deck. You can mix it up as much as you want. Down the line, there may be creatures with a ability or with a rule that says that they can only go in the deck of a certain player card. But this is really cool. There's going to be over 1,000 different player cards as the game progresses, but these are just going to be the baseline ones. So the property cards. Property cards are the main way of generating coins. You have your name, your coin production. This is how many coins you make when you reveal the card. You have the information and all that good stuff. The capacity cost, this shows you how much space a property card takes up in your deck. A property deck must contain 10 cards whose total capacity does not exceed 10. There are property cards with a capacity cost of 0. So you'll notice that the shop has a capacity of 2. So if you have 5 of these in your property deck, it will take up all 10 capacity, and you will have to use property cards with a capacity of 0, which are slightly worse than this shop here. How you use these cards is during your turn, during your property step, you can reveal the top card of your property deck, and you may put it onto the property zone, or you may choose to use the sell effect. So how this works is you flip this card face up. You can choose to just build it immediately, which would put it directly into your property zone, or you can sell the property and you gain its sell effect. So this shop has the effect, when you sell it, you gain 2 coins. If you choose to sell it, you'll put the card on the bottom of your property deck face up and gain the sell effect. And then you can't use the sell effect if the property card is face up. So creature cards. Creatures may not move the same turn that they're played. Here's all the information, by the way. You have the name. This is the cost that is required to play them. This is also their level. So this would be a level 3 monster. So if you remember our zone here, he could go in this zone or this back zone, but he can't go in the front row because he's level 3. And so he can't move the turn that he's played, but creatures may use their abilities and be used for spell action components, which I'll get into on the next page. Creatures have 1 move action per turn. They can either choose to move or attack. Exhausted creatures may not use a move action and deal no damage while exhausted. So whenever a creature enters combat, gets attacked or is attacking, at the end of combat it will become exhausted and it can't do any more damage or be used for any spell components. This is a little list for telling you how much damage you take whenever a creature you control dies. So 0 to 2 is 1, 3 to 5 is 2, and 6 plus is 3. I know this seems a little complicated, but if you remember our main thing here, if it's a monster that can only go in the front row, you'll only take 1 damage. This will be 2, and then 6 plus is 3. So it's a little easy to remember that way. And it's if they die no matter what. So if you sacrifice it in combat, or if it gets destroyed by an opponent, no matter what, if it goes to the graveyard, you will be taking that soul damage. So spells and actions have a component cost found in bold within the text box. So if you see right here, it says component, pay 7 coins, comma, exhaust player. And so what that means is you'd have to pay 7 coins and you'd have to exhaust your player in order to play this spell. Spells and actions are the same except for the card type, which is important for some cards. And this is actually going to be, actions and spells are going to be changed to both being tactic cards, and spells and actions are going to fall into different categories. Some spells and actions require multiple components to be used, which I stated here, separated by the comma, and some spells and actions let you choose between 2, so they'll have an or instead of a comma. So if this was pay 7 coins or exhaust your player, you could choose to either pay 7 coins or exhaust your player in order to gain the ability. So structure cards are like creatures. You pay a cost to put them onto the battlefield. Structure cards may be put into any open zone in your territory regardless of their level. So you can put this stone wall anywhere. If this was a level 5 stone wall, you could put it in your front row. That does not matter. Structures can't move, and you don't take any soul damage when structures are destroyed, which is sort of a benefit. So you don't take any soul damage, but they also can't move. And this is used in some controlling strategies. They don't become exhausted when they are dealt damage either, so that's also pretty nice. Yep. Next, we have item cards. So item cards have a card cost, and this is how much they cost, and then you have the ability text. Next, you have the item type. So this will tell you whether it gets equipped to a player, equipped to a creature, or if it's a single use. A single use item just gets used and then it goes straight to the graveyard. Destroyed item cards will go underneath the creature and player cards while being used by them. The item card follows the creature to the graveyard or back to the hand. So if I have this band, or if I have this amulet of protection equipped to one of my creatures and someone plays a spell to bounce that creature back to my hand, this amulet of protection will also go back to my hand, which is really, really cool. Creature item cards only work on creature cards and single use items go to the graveyard after discard, like I mentioned before. Next, we have location cards. So location cards are special cards that set the scene for creatures to do battle. Location cards go in the location zone, and their abilities affect all creatures and players. To play a location card, you simply play it from your hand to the location zone. So if you have this Keldon Higher Valley in your hand, you can just play it to the location zone, and then the effect will activate. Only one location card can be in play at a time. If a secondary location card is played, you destroy the one that's already in play. So here's the turn order. So there's 3 phases in the game. We keep it really simple. You have the begin phase. So at the start of the turn, you just start the turn. You have the main phase, which is the middle of the turn, and the end phase, which is the end of turn. We're going to go through the exact steps in each of these phases. So the begin phase has the exhaust step, which says exhaust all permanents you control, property, creatures, players, items, all that good stuff. You have the dawn step, any beginning of turn effects activate. Then you have a draw step where you draw a card from the main deck. And finally, you have your property step where you reveal the top card of your property deck, then choose to put that card onto your property zone or use its sell effect if it was face down. Next, you have your main phase. During the main phase, you can move creatures, attack with creatures, play cards from your hand, activate abilities, do whatever you'd like to. To play a card, you just pay the cost of the card using your property cards, and then you play it to the field. You can activate abilities, which is paying the cost of the card, and then activate the ability that you want. And then you have a move a creature. You can choose a creature you control and move it to an open adjacent zone and move that creature into it. If you instead would like to attack with a creature, you choose a creature you control that you want to attack with, then you choose a creature you don't control that is adjacent to that creature, and your creature will deal damage to the defending creature's HP equal to its attack power, and the defending creature will deal its attack power to the attacking creature. After damage is dealt, any creatures that have damage equal to or exceeding their health will go to their respective graveyards, and all creatures remaining will become exhausted. Attacking creatures remain in the zone they attacked from, even if the defending creature dies. So if you attack with a Goblin Hunting towards your opponent's Clay Golem, and the Clay Golem dies, the Goblin Hunting would not move into your opponent's zone. He would stay exactly where he's at. And then finally, you have the end phase, which has the dusk step, so any end of turn effects activate. You have the tax step, any coins leave your bank account that you might have had stored up, because whenever you tap a property card, it gives you a coin. So you go back down to 0, and then you have the end of turn. The turn passes over to your opponent. Next, we have some extra information. Spells and abilities can only be used on your turn unless stated otherwise. There's a few cards that let you interact on your opponent's turn, but for the most part, I want to keep this game very, very simple, and I want you to only be able to play cards on your turn. But that might change as the game progresses and goes on, and we'll see what you guys say. When you put a property card on the property zone, this action is called build or building. Creatures and players only get 1 move action per turn. Exhausted creatures can't use move actions. In the case of a tie, like let's say both players drop down to 0 HP at the same time because you both attack each other's creature, they both go to the graveyard and you both take 2 damage going to 0, the turn player would lose the game. So whoever's turn it is would lose. If multiple effects happen at the same time, the turn player gets to activate their effects first. So if you have 2 gelatinous cubes, which say when this creature dies, you can search your deck for 2 slime creature cards and put them into adjacent open zones. The turn player would get to use that effect first. The first player does not draw a card on their first turn, but the second player does. And you can have a max of 7 cards in your hand. And if you have more than that, you have to discard down to 7. Next, we have some keyword abilities. So these are going to be abilities that are going to be listed on some of the creature cards and spell cards. So you have Cosplay. Cosplay is an ability that says you may use the Cosplay effect once and only immediately after playing the card for its coin cost. You have Flight, which says while exhausted, this creature doesn't take attack damage from creatures without flight. You have Fortify, which puts defense counters on the card as it enters play. You have Manipulate, which can move a creature to an open adjacent zone. You have Provoke, which adjacent enemy creatures may only choose that creature as an attack target. Poison creatures take 1 damage at the end of its controller's turn. You have Rush. The creature may move the same turn it is put onto the battlefield. You have Regen, which says remove the damage counter from this creature at the end of its controller's turn. And Swift. This creature may use an additional move action each turn. Next, we have the glossary. So if you want to look over these, some that I might go over is defense counters. Defense counters are an additional point of HP that can exceed the hit point maximum, and they are removed first when the card is damaged. Exhausted is when a creature is used either in combat or for a spell component. It's turned sideways to show that it is exhausted. And then reaction. Reaction is having the chance to play a card on an opponent's turn even when the conditions are met. Yeah, and here's just a turn reference that's going to be on the back of the card. So you have your unexhaust step, your dawn step, draw step, property step, your main phase, and then your end phase, which is dusk step, tax step, end of turn. And then you also have a combat reference, so declare attacking defending creature. Response step, players may respond. Damage step, damage is dealt. Death step, creatures go to the graveyard, and the exhaust step, remaining creatures are done. And that is all the rules of Alphmendra Ten Kingdoms. I'm going to actually publish a video of me showing off the cards and actually using them in a game so you guys can get an idea of how to play. I know this seems like a lot, but it's actually very, very simple and very, very intuitive to play this game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.